Hey, this is Justine from Employed to Serve, and you're listening to As the Story Grows.
Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brad Patton. This week, we welcome Employed to Serve frontwoman Justine Jones to the podcast. Employed to Serve just released their phenomenal new record, Conquering, on Spine Farm Records. Justine chats about learning to scream specifically for Employed to Serve, the expanding community of female vocalists in heavy music, using Patreon to survive the pandemic, and having time to create Conquering. This was a fun chat, and I really have been enjoying Conquering. So I hope you guys enjoy getting to know Justine Jones from Employed to Serve.
Thanks. It's nice and sunny, and it's kind of nice to get outside again and it not be grey and raining.
Oh yeah. What's it been like the last year and a half for you guys over there?
It's been very grey and very boring. So it's been quite nice to have like a little bit of sort of some more freedoms, and shows have started up literally like this week again. So I'm going to attend my first one in 18 months on Saturday, so I'm quite excited about that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Have your shows returned yet?
Slowly. I think this fall they're really supposed to ramp up. Right as Delta's ramping up too, so it'll be great. This
meets and clash.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I was noticing as I was doing some research and looking on Facebook, you have an Alice in Wonderland sleeve.
I do, and I've just noticed it was Toy Story shirt.
I do, yeah. I got an up tattoo too, so I got Disney tattoo connection. So
hell yeah,
that's rad. That's awesome.
I love Disney.
Yeah. Is that like your favorite movie, Alice, or what inspired that?
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah,
can't drink apparently. Yeah, that or like Toy Story.
Well, where did you grow up in the UK?
Just outside London, in somewhere called Woking. It's kind of like where like the Jam came from, and who else came from here? H.G. Wells, the author who like wrote War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's quite good. It's like easy to get out of. That's why I like Woking. Like we're down the road from an airport, and like you've got a good train line and good motorways and stuff. So yeah, it's good. It's nice and easy.
That's awesome. What got you into music?
I don't know really. I guess just from sort of like listening to like tapes and stuff and CDs in my parents' car. Like they would only sort of like, they kind of mainly listen to things like sort of chart music and U2 and Red Hot Chili Peppers, that kind of stuff. But I kind of just sort of naturally got into it through school.
Okay.
We had sort of cable and stuff growing up, so we were lucky enough to have like Kerrang and Scuzz TV. It just kind of snowballed from there, and I just sort of just watched music television for a lot of the time.
That's awesome. Was there a local scene for you to get into and get involved with as you like your music interest peaked and grew?
Yeah, there was like the beginning, like when I was like 14, they had, so like our local sort of church used to have shows and stuff on there. But like, unfortunately, that kind of got cut short because someone let a first smoke bomb in the church, and after that, they're like, no more shows. But yeah, no, it was good. It was quite a fun little scene, actually.
That's awesome. Did you ever find yourself drawn to playing any instruments?
Yeah, so I started playing guitar when I was 14, but I just didn't really have the attention span, to be honest. So I kind of half play guitar now, but not like to any good degree, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
kind of, I can play some bits, and I'm sure I could play it if I can be bothered to keep a good schedule. But I'm kind of content just doing vocals. It's a bit easier.
Yeah. What drew you to wanting to be a front woman and like leading the band?
I don't know, really. Like, I just, I guess you get the most attention.
Yeah.
It just sort of naturally happened. Like, I never really thought of being a vocalist or anything like that. Like, there was sort of like a need arose for like a vocalist for Employed to Serve. So like, my husband started it, and he needed a vocalist. So he was like, why don't you try? And just kind of fell from there, really. And then I've just sort of, everything since has been sort of on vocals, but I might pick up guitar at some point now that I'm older and can sit still.
That's awesome. Were you in bands in your teenage years?
Yeah, so I played in I think we played a show in front of parents. Like, we were like 14. I played guitar in that band. But that's about it. Like, Employed to Serve is like my first band. So
nice. That's rad. Was there ever any trepidation about stepping into that vocal role? I know, like, now it just seems like women front metal bands, and that's just a thing, and everybody's like, but like, it was a novelty back in like 10, 20 years ago. It was like you had Walls of Jericho and that was it, right?
Yeah, that's it. I guess so. I didn't really pay much attention because, so growing up, like, I used to always play on, like, when I was younger, I used to play on sports teams and that, and I didn't always used to be a female sports team, so I ended up playing with the boys anyway. This is like when I was quite young. It was like 12 to 13 kind of thing. So I was kind of used to sort of being in a very like male dominated area kind of thing. So it didn't really bother me too much.
Yeah.
But obviously now it's great because there's so many of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole like community, like, it's just natural now. Like, it's like, why wasn't this happening all along?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like, you're just as badass a screamer as anybody else, right? Like,
oh, for sure. I think social media has helped as well.
Yeah.
It's like you just see so many more pop up, like, on all levels. Like, so like you kind of like, oh, there's only like really big bands and female vocalists. So there's like kind of there's like female vocalists in every sort of step of the way kind of thing. So yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome. You said your husband started Employed to Serve, recruited you to vocals. Had you been doing any sort of screaming vocals previously, or was it like you just had to try and grow into that role?
Oh yeah, no, I learned for this. Okay. I literally just sort of worked it out. So yeah, it was quite fun actually. I figured that like I find it hard to sort of like practice for something or to sort of like get like a routine with something when like I don't have a need to. Yeah. If it was just for the sake of it, I probably wouldn't. But if I had to for a band, like I feel like more pressured into doing it because like public humiliation is a really good motivator. So like I guess I literally just had a need to. So yeah, I just sort of worked it out. I think it took me a couple months and then a few years to sort of hone in and not blow my voice out at every show. But yeah.
You the primary lyricist as well?
Sammy and I share vocals pretty much. Especially since he's sort of better at arranging vocals than me. So a lot of the time, like I'll come at him with like loads and loads of lyrics, and then he'll make like rejig them to make them fit, or like add his own bits, or he'll write a whole song. And kind of a mix, really. Yeah.
Was that something else you had to hone in and work on and craft?
Oh yeah. Like it's all of everything. It's quite fun though. It's like a fun process. Like, you know, it's also just something to do. It's better than just a sort of like, I mean, as much as I love binging on Netflix, it just kind of fills your time and, you know, it's just some sort of purpose and a bit of routine. I'm a big fan of routine, which is why I do quite well on tour.
Yeah. It makes COVID and lockdown like so stressful when it's like you're just like every day is the same thing.
Oh god, it sucks. I literally had to sort of like I tried to sort of stick to my like 9 to 5 work routine throughout the whole of lockdown, because I was like, nah, I can't let this slide. I was just, I'll be a mess. I don't know what day is what.
Yeah. How'd you guys get connected with Spine Farm Records?
Not sure, really. I think we just sort of started talking to them after our second record. I think we contacted them first. Can't actually remember, but yeah, like, so we kind of sort of liked what they were doing, and they seemed like great people. And the label manager, Darren, used to run Siege of Media Records, which was an independent, and I found that quite cool because like he comes from like an independent label background, which I think is like more useful, especially for like bands at our size at that time. So yeah, no, it's been good.
It looked like during lockdown, you guys really leaned into Patreon. Was that something you guys had going before COVID and lockdown hit, or was that something you employed as a way to like keep the band going and of interest and connect with fans while you couldn't tour?
Yeah, it was definitely something we sort of started during lockdown, just because we actually had some more time on our hands to like kind of create things to make it worth people's while. And it was just kind of nice because we always found it hard sort of like putting our more sort of like goofier, I guess, like outtakes and things like that on our Instagram and things like that. I feel like with Patreon, because they actually want to see like, you know, a more sort of like up close and personal take on the band. Like I kind of felt like it worked really well. Because sometimes as well, like we'd feel like we'd spend a lot of time doing like playthrough videos and like all this stuff. And then like the algorithms on Instagram are just atrocious. And like any social media, so you kind of spend all this time like creating the stuff, and then like barely anyone will see it. But with Patreon, it was just way better because you can just, you know, you have that sort of captive audience where you can be like, oh, everyone's going to see this because they get a ping to their email address and like they can actually see it. Because because it gets quite disheartening after a while because you're like, oh, I just want people to see all the stuff we put up. So yeah, Patreon was a really good way of sort of keeping things ticking along whilst we're unable to tour. Because we sort of had to go 3 tours cancelled in our entire festival season, so it was quite nice to have something to focus on.
Yeah. What's the scene like there over in the UK? I've talked to like a couple of French acts, and I know it varies from place to place over there. And like you guys have the big festivals, Download and Hellfest, that are big metal and hardcore fests. But what is like the current landscape of like hardcore and metal?
I think it's really healthy, especially, I can't really speak for other scenes, but for the UK scene, I feel like it's really good. Like, there's so many young bands coming up at the minute, and I feel like everyone's really supportive of each other. And like, there's a nice sort of thing with like the British scene where even though, you know, like you'll get like a metal band and a grunge band playing together just because, you know, like they're sort of like trying to achieve similar things. So there's no sort of like genre barrier as much, I feel. It's just kind of nice, and everyone sort of like supports each other, so that's quite cool. And you've got like loads of great festivals as well, like, you know, you've got Download Festival, Arctangent, Bloodstock, you know, 2000 Trees, Reading, and then, you know, over the continent in Europe, it's, you know, crazy. You've got Hellfest, Grasspop. You're absolutely spoiled. So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Well, the new album is called Conquering. It's out in September. Is this a record you guys recorded during lockdown, or was it done before?
During, yeah. So like we actually had so much time. So this was written during the summer like the first lockdown. Yeah. I think we had like 2 tracks written prior to the lockdowns happening. So yeah, we just sort of like focused our energy on finishing the record, and we recorded it in the winter of 2020 and 2021. So from like December to about February, I think we spent. So yeah, like we managed to get like all of the instruments recorded in first three weeks or so, and then I came back on weekends to finish vocals to sort of spread out the songs. Because like previously, I used to always like squash them in together and try and do like the whole album in less than a week. Which like I don't know if like looking back, I don't know why I did it before. Like, but this way was so much better. Like I actually I was forced to do it because I blew my voice out because I was a bit under the weather. And I just sort of like I had so much on my plate, and like I blew my voice out on like the first day of recording, and I was man. I'm gonna come back. And yeah, it was the best thing I ever did because like it actually gave me more time. So I had a whole Christmas to sort of like really work things out. And so when I came back in the January to February over the weekends, I could like do 2 songs a day and just really sort of like concentrate on each song at a time. And I actually think I'm gonna do that regardless moving forward. So no, it's good. So awesome. Felt like a bad situation at the time was actually a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Did that time inform the sound of the new material, or the lyrical content on the new material?
Yeah, I feel like it was like I had more sort of like time to sort of like try new things and try different things out. So it was good. It's the happiest I've ever been with a vocal performance on the record. So
that's awesome. Is there a lyrical theme that runs through the record? Is it like inspired by lockdown and reflection, or?
It's just kind of like, it's sort of just about like, so like the actual album title Conquering is kind of about sort of conquering your own ego and, taking, just sort of like being kind to yourself and others, and, not taking things too seriously. Because I felt like at the time everything was so negative and there's lots of horrible things happening in the world. And I feel like, you could spend all your time sort of doom scrolling on social media and BBC on news and stuff like that. Like, but it's sort of about sort of like accepting the bad with the good and sort of moving on and striving to be a better person.
That's awesome. You guys released the first single, the video for Exist. Who came up with that concept for the video?
So I came up with like the main idea, and then we sort of kind of had loads and loads of meetings with the director, Sammy, and our drummer, Casey. So we all 4 of us kind of sort of worked on it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to capture the sort of the absolute joy of when you first discover your favorite heavy band, or like your first favorite band ever. And like when you're sort of like a teenager, sort of like 12, 13, and you're absolutely obsessed, and it's just like a really fun thing to put all your energies into. Yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. I saw you guys announced you're touring with Gojira in 22. Is that the next thing on your docket, that tour?
Yes, we're hoping to squeeze in a headline tour around album release, but I guess so. Like I'm hoping that will be a thing, but at the moment that is our only tour coming up, so we're really excited.
Cool.
Just can't wait to get back. Like it's just been so long. I just didn't expect COVID to go on for more than a year. So
yeah,
everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah, unfortunately. Have you guys ever been stateside and toured the States?
We were going to last. We had our visas accepted and everything, but unfortunately, I didn't have it ahead. But I'm hoping like we'll be able to definitely do it on this album cycle. Like it's definitely something we're trying to work on at the minute. So fingers crossed, everything opens up and we can get over there.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.